Hey guys, what's up and welcome to a new League of Legends video. So lately I have been talking to you guys about new types of champions for certain roles or just simply building a champion in a different way. And I really enjoy doing that and I want to continue that with this video right here. In this one I am going to be talking about AD/TF. Now I'm sure some of you might be just wondering, why would I ever want to build TF as an AD champion when he's just so much better at AP? Well, the first thing I will mention is that yes, I honestly do think that AP/TF is probably better. But if you've never tried AD/TF, I highly recommend it. It's just a lot of fun. And trying new types of builds on certain champions while still making them effective is just a great thing to do. So I have been playing this for quite a few games and I honestly gotta say, I'm enjoying it a lot more than I really thought I would. So in this video, I'll go more in depth as to why I think AD/TF is a cool thing to try out and is actually quite effective. I'll go over some of the negative parts of this build and then I'll give you my items, runes, and masteries. So hopefully you guys can go ahead, jump in a game with your friends or by yourself and just try this out and tell me how it goes. Alright, so with that being said, let's go right into the positives of AD/TF. The first and probably the most important thing I want to go over is the fact that the sound effect for TF constantly throwing his cards is just so beautiful to listen to. And that in itself merits AD/TF. But in all honesty, it is a pretty cool sound effect. But going to the next point, with his pick a card, he does have self-peel as an ADC type champion. Now granted, the blue card is not very effective because you're not going to use a whole lot of mana as AD/TF. The red one and the gold one are both very useful. An ADC is all about kiting away from champions, so if you can CC them down yourself without having to rely on other people to do it for you, well, that's just a plus. Also, if you have not guessed yet, this AD/TF build is completely revolving around getting maximum attack speed, that being 2.50. The next major point, and actually a really important one, is the fact that TF's E ability has a passive effect, which at rank 5 will give you 30% attack speed. Now that's quite a bit. And since the build we're doing is revolving around attack speed and getting on-hit items, for example like a Wit's End and a Blade of the Ruined King, I mean it really does help it quite a bit. But on top of that, his E ability also has a second passive effect where every 4th auto attack, his next auto attack will deal bonus magic damage. Now the fact that it does magic damage is quite good because you'll have so many different sources of damage coming out of you that the enemy opponent will not be 100% sure on what they should build in terms of defense. I mean, think about it. You have your E dealing some magic damage, you have your Blade of the Ruined King dealing physical damage, your auto attacks of course dealing physical damage, your W does magic damage, and then you're gonna have the Wit's End dealing bonus magic damage. It's just a whole lot of different types of damage coming out at the same time. Then you have TF's ultimate, a great ability all around, whether he's AP or AD. You have his passive, which I didn't mention in my list, but especially as an ADC type champion, I mean you want to be farming as much as possible. If you play ADC, you better love farming because that's all you're supposed to do for quite a long time. And thanks to his passive, he's able to farm even faster than almost every other champion, assuming you're on par with CS. And overall, this is just a really cool and fun build that I highly recommend trying out. But with every positive, there must be a negative. So let's go into that next. The first thing is the fact that even though he has a lot of mixed damage coming out, TF doesn't really have any amazing abilities that scale very well with AD. So this kind of makes it a little difficult to burst people down or to really do any significant damage, which is another reason as to why we build him primarily around attack speed. His Q for AD/TF is just absolutely useless. I mean, you have zero uses for it, just as simple as that. It's bad. And the next thing is the fact that on top of this probably not being better than AP/TF, it's also even harder to play than AP/TF. Because with AP/TF, all you have to do, throw the W, throw your Q, run around for a bit waiting for your cooldowns, and then rinse and repeat. But with this one, you have to constantly be throwing out your W, and you always have to be moving really quickly, constantly getting attacks off every single time you can. TLDR, it's harder. And the final thing is the fact that his laning phase is only so-so. I mean, it's not absolutely horrendous because you can go in for the harass with your W, you can go in with the harass with your E when it's activated for the bonus magic damage, but it's nothing significant either. In this game, you saw me play him top lane against an Ezreal, but the main reason for that is because I just did not want to face a LeBlanc mid. LeBlanc will absolutely demolish TF in lane, whether TF is AP or AD. But yeah, normally I do play him in the mid lane, so this is a mid AD/TF guide. Now let's go into the next part, the one I'm sure most of you are excited to see. What exactly is the build for an AD/TF? Or maybe we should just start calling him attack speed TF. Well, let's get right into that. I either start with boots and 4 pots or Doran's blade and 1 pot. I usually want to recommend starting with a Doran's Blade in one pod because you have a lot of trade damage if you play it properly. But if you're feeling a little scared of the laning phase, or if you feel like you have to move around really fast to dodge skill shots, for instance against a Syndra or an Orianna, then maybe getting boots with 4 pods is just better. Regardless, you want to get the Berserker boots and the Blade of the Rune King as your first 2 items. And then almost always you want to get a Wit's End unless they have absolutely 0 magic damage on their team. And even then it's still not that bad because the damage that it does per auto attack is quite nice. Following the Wit's End, I like to get a Trinity Force because it just gives a whole lot of what TF needs. The Phage for kiting capabilities, the Sheen for some AP, and on top of that for activating with his W, and the Sheen effect for just the crits and the extra attack speed, which will later synergize with the Infinity Edge. But after the Triforce and before the IE, the Zephyr is really nice for the tenacity. TF can really use that tenacity to make sure he doesn't just get stun locked and sits there. And to put the cherry on the cake, IE is just perfect. It just adds exactly what you need because you will need some raw damage in order to make this build not suck too much. I mean, the point of this build is to get 2.50 attack speed, but you don't want to go over ham on that, and you don't really want to get too many attack speed items either. So the IE is just the perfect way to end it off. Notice I don't even get a Last Whisper, that's because I have so much mixed damage, but if you wish you can always replace, for example, the Wit's End or the Zephyr with the Last Whisper. And at the bottom I have a few other items that you can definitely throw into the build based on what you prefer. The cool thing about this TF build is that almost any attack speed item will work on it. So I do recommend playing around, testing out the builds, but the 6 items I mentioned at the top are my personal favorite. Going quickly into Masteries, I get 3 move speed from the utility tree and the rest is quite standard. I really like the 3 points in the utility tree because I also have move speed quints and TF benefits so heavily off of move speed. And then for runes it's a little bit more complicated, but I do like to run flat AD reds. I run a mix of flat HP and HP per level yellows. I get 3 attack speed blues and the rest are flat MR. I get 1 attack speed quint and I get 2 quints that give me bonus move speed. And that's about all I want to cover for AD TF or attack speed TF. Definitely try it out, guys. Tell me what you think. If you enjoyed the video, please throw in a like, share it with your friends, and then tweet at me your scores. Tell me in the comments below how you did, and also please check out my other videos on my channel as well. But as usual, I hope you guys really did enjoy this video, learn something new, and I hope to see you for the next one as well. Peace.